You got to know Falls City. I mean, I love that. I love the town. I'd go back there in a heartbeat. I mean, I like the environment and stuff. I like the people. It's just some of the people there. They're set in their ways. I mean, you get somebody of different color down there. Unless there's somebody that's been accepted by a lot of people. I mean, like we got a few guys, but they're brothers. That are black that come down there from Hiawatha. They're accepted. But if somebody else that nobody knows comes down there that's black, they're not accepted, and they can feel the vibes, and even some people verbally will tell them. I had a person I knew in here named Arnold Kelly. Well, his brother Kenneth Kelly went down there, and he was married or dated this girl from Falls City. We come down there, and he was verbally told, by people down, some farmers down there at the South Side Inn, we don't want you here, and so he left. And he was down there for job purposes. So, it's that and other things, I mean, it's just they're set on their ways, and you're getting a lot of retired folk down there, older people that's come from Florida and here and there and there, and they, they're there to retire and stuff, so they're put a lot of, pressure on, they get to know people and stuff, and that, they've been there a long time, farmers and stuff, and they, so they make a, you automatically, if you've been in some kind of trouble, it don't matter if they know what kind of trouble. It could be just a little thing, really not any kind of criminal trouble. It's just that, once they know that you've been put away somewhere or something like that, you just think you're nothing but trouble. And they don't want to give you any chances. I never got a job. I couldn't get a job in that town. I come back, I couldn't get a job. I'd try everywhere, go through the job service and everything. I couldn't get a job, I got one job in that town, but it wasn't being hired by somebody that's from that town. It was from a construction outfit that was out of York and somewhere else, Fremont, so, it just, they don't want you to, they just want to drive you off, and if they can get you in some kind of trouble again, then they'll put pressure on MERS to make sure that he sends you away, even if you don't deserve to be sent away, so. That's how that community is. If they got somebody they feel that's trouble or might be trouble, you're out. You're not in that circle no more. You're considered, trash on the south side. And everybody wants to make those, dividing lines of everything. So, Alana had asked me the day. Matter of fact, she asked me because. When I went over there to check she was okay, see all this events took place from another coming over, pushing Brandon into the window and hitting her or whatever, so whatever. And so when I came over there to check, she had me come and she called me back into Tom's room, asked me to come back there so I could talk to her, and she said that her dad said that if anybody would find out what sex teen Brandon was, John would be, So she said, she told me what her dad said and stuff, and she told me, she said, well, would you? And if I asked you, would you? And I said, well, yeah. I said I'd go up there and ask Brandon, and see if she can let me see and everything like that. I said, and she goes, okay, and then it was dropped in, and it wasn't brought up until again that party when I came about, a couple hours after into the party. Then she started saying about, came up to me and called me into Tom's room again and asked me again, and asked me, and I said, well, yeah, I guess, I said, let me know, and then I guess she turned around and did the same thing to Tom because Tom got involved in this somehow, so either she asked Tom earlier or she asked him at that party, but the next thing I know, she's coming up to me and Tom's with her, and they want me, want me to go with them, and we go into the bathroom, get Brandon, go in there, and we're talking to her. And Brandon made the decision to show me. She said, well, I'll show John, and so I told them to leave, and she asked me to turn out the light in there, and I turned out the light. And she asked me, I said, well, I couldn't see, and she said, well, can we go somewhere else, And I said, well, yeah, where you want to go? She said, well, can we go outside? So we went outside, and we went to this garage area. And there was light coming in from, light that's in the back of this nursing home thing that shines out on the back of the alley. And she pulls it down, and she sits there and puts a belt there, you know. But she's playing it off as something else, and I'm playing along with her. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm just doing this because, you know, just because everybody's suspicious and Atlanta's asked me, and I just want to get it done with and over with and go back to my party and have a good time. Well, she pulls it down. She says, "Oh, it's, you know," she says, "You know, it's going to be flat and slippery and stuff because, you know, I got to pump it up," and this whole routine she was going through, saying this is their sex change and everything like that. And so I said, "Well, let me see," you know, and she was like, "Okay, you know, here," and then she, you know, and I touched it, and I was like, you know, I knew it was a belt and stuff, you know, and I was like, well, what the hell, you know. And she said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to go in there and tell everybody I saw something." You know, I said, you know, it's up to you what you want to do and have that. I mean, you got to, you know, be willing to tell people, you know, the truth or whatever, you know. So, because what, you know, she was making everybody saying she was morphodite, you know. So she was saying she was born with both sexes, but she was telling me out there she was having a sex change. So she had, you know, to me, she had to get her what she wanted to tell people, you know, whatever the truth is or whatever, you know, or whatever lie she was going to say. She had to get it straight and tell everybody so everybody would leave her alone, you know, so it'd be a dropped issue. So I went in and told everybody, yeah, there's something there. You know, and I went back to drinking, and about a half hour or so, 45 minutes later, I go in there and I ask where Tom and everybody's at, and, you know, and they said, well, they're in there talking with Brandon again. I said, what? You know, I said, you know, I said, that's already been taken care of. And they said, well, it must not be, you know. So I waited about 10 minutes and stuff, and I went in the bathroom, and when I walked in, that's when Tom was pulling down her pants, and he put his finger up there and said, oh, this, you know, there's something, you know, there ain't nothing there. She's a girl, you know. And I said, well, I saw something. You know, I looked at Brandon and I said, what was it I saw? You know, just playing it off, you know, and then I left it at that. I said, well, Ann, it's up to you now, you know, talk to her. Truthfully, you know, I mean, I was up here living in Lincoln, you know, and I was riding my bicycle, and I passed this, you know, and with this guy named Steve Tucker and stuff that had been in here before. I guess he's been in here too long, because we drive by and I go, whoa. And he goes, man, do you see that girl? And I said, that ain't no girl, that's the guy. You know, I mean, and he looked and stuff, and he was like, no shit. You know, and then he goes over, you know, and we stop, and there's these two black ladies in this car, and they're just giggling and stuff, you know. And they go, and we know what they're giggling at. They're giggling at this person, and they're going, Jesus Christ, you see that? You know, and, you know, I mean, I've seen this stuff, you know. So to me, no, I don't, you know. To them, maybe it's, you know, maybe they want to know every person that comes into town what sex they are. I mean, you know, for all I know, they're probably still down there doing this stuff, you know. Somebody comes into town, they're probably still saying, hey, would you drop your pants? You know, we want to see what sex you are, you know. I have no idea. I mean, well, yeah, no. I mean, it's just, you know. I mean, they had the tickets, you know. They supposedly seen her up there in jail, and, you know, I mean, to me, I think if I would have been up there in jail and I would have seen these things, I would have been convinced that she is a girl. You know, especially being in the, you know, sometime girl cell, but, you know, used quite frequently by men cell. You know, I would have thought, well, yeah, maybe this is a, you know, I would have said, oh, yeah, that, you know, there's just too much going in the favor that she's a girl, but, you know, I wasn't told these facts, and they just came up and said, when, you know, hey, would you find out for us? I don't know. Lies, I guess, you know. I mean, you know, he was mad because she was lying and stuff, and it might have been because he was dating Les Atlanta just prior. You know, matter of fact, Atlanta broke up with him to go see Brandon, to start dating Brandon, so there might have been some pride hurt there, you know, on his part, you know, that he was mad because, you know, this girl that's posing as a guy took the girl that he was seeing, you know, on the sidelines behind his wife's back. You know, I mean, I really can't tell you. I mean, I'm not in his mind. I can't sit there, and I'm not going to say something against him that I can't back up with some kind of fact. Because I knew that if I took the polygraph, that they would know that Tom went back there and had sex, and then I went back there and tried to have sex, you know. Even though I knew that it was, as far as I knew, consensual, I knew that Keith Hayes, just being the person he is, no, he'd be like, that's all I need. And I'd go back to prison because they wouldn't give a fuck what I said. Because they don't care what I say. They don't, them people, if they can get anything that even looks like I've done something wrong, you know, and fits into their puzzle they want, they're going to send me away, you know, if they get a chance. Because Merce told me the last time, he said, when I got my second number, he says, next time, you're going for a long time if I ever get you in here again. Well, I don't think it was lying. I think it was, a lot of people were upset because she was stealing from people too. She was taking checks and taking money and forging, you know, and stuff like that. So a lot of people were upset with her with that. But it had nothing to do with me, you know. But, you know, a lot of that, you know. So there was a lot of, it wasn't just the lying, it was just the simple fact she was stealing from people, you know, and using people, you know. So that's what I think it was. I think it was just more. I think people could have dealt with the lies. It was the stealing. It was, you know, because I mean, people ain't got much as it is, you know, and then you're taking what little they have. I mean, it might have not been so bad up in Lincoln because, you know, most people that live up in Lincoln, you know, are pretty well off. They're from well-off families, so they're going to have, you know, better income, you know, and they make more money working a job. So you steal something from them, yeah, it's still going to hurt them, but it's not going to be like somebody, you come down to a small community like that, there barely any jobs. A lot of them are on welfare and stuff, you know. I mean, you know, if you got somebody that gets a job and keeps a job, you know, especially a girl that don't end up pregnant and end up on welfare for the rest of her life, you're pretty damn lucky. You know, so that's Falls City for you.